80 years. That's how long they've been lying to us. At least, that's what dozens of former government officials are now claiming. Recently, a documentary dropped on Prime Video that's shaking up everything we thought we knew about UFOs, aliens, and what the government has been hiding in the shadows. The Disclosure Age brings together 34 powerful names, all saying the exact same thing. The United States has been covering up information about extraterrestrial technology for decades. But here's the real question: should we believe them? What you're about to hear isn't just another conspiracy theory cooked up in someone's basement. These are testimonies from people who've worked inside the Pentagon, flown military aircraft, and had direct access to classified information. They're putting their names, their reputations, and possibly even their safety on the line. And they all agree on one disturbing truth: we are not alone, and our government knows it. The documentary was directed by Dan Farah, who previously worked alongside Steven Spielberg as a producer on Ready Player One. This is his first time stepping into the director's chair, and he chose to debut with one of the most controversial subjects imaginable. It took him 3 years to complete this project, and for good reason. Every interview was conducted in absolute secrecy. The identities of those involved were kept hidden even from each other until filming was nearly complete. This wasn't just about making a film. This was about creating a safe space for people to finally speak their truth without fear of immediate retaliation. So what exactly does this documentary claim? At its core, The Disclosure Age accuses the US government of concealing not just the existence of alien technology, but an entire covert program dedicated to reverse engineering it. According to the film, there's a hidden sector within the government that's been studying crashed extraterrestrial craft for nearly a century, trying to understand how they work and replicate their capabilities. If true, this would be the biggest cover-up in human history. The documentary is narrated by Luis Elizondo, a former Pentagon official who helped lead the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, known as ADIP. He resigned from his position in 2017, claiming that the government was deliberately withholding critical information from the public. Elizondo isn't just some fringe figure shouting into the void. He was on the inside, working with classified materials, and he walked away because he says he couldn't stay silent any longer. But Elizondo isn't alone. Among the 34 people featured in the film is Jay Stratton, a defense official who co-founded ADIP. Stratton makes a chilling statement on camera: "I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings." Let that sink in for a moment. A man who worked at the highest levels of defense intelligence is openly stating that he has witnessed extraterrestrial entities. Not rumors, not secondhand stories, direct observation. Even more surprising is the appearance of Marco Rubio, the current US Secretary of State. In the documentary, Rubio talks about repeated incursions into restricted American airspace, particularly over nuclear facilities. These aren't just random sightings. These are coordinated intrusions into some of the most heavily guarded locations on the planet. And according to Rubio, nobody really knows what these objects are or where they come from. Every single person in this documentary, from pilots to politicians to intelligence officers, shares personal accounts of encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena. They describe objects moving in ways that defy the laws of physics. Craft that can hover silently, accelerate to impossible speeds, and vanish without a trace. According to Dan Farah, the reason the government stays silent isn't to protect the American people. It's to keep adversaries like Russia and China in the dark about what the US has in its possession. But here's where it gets even stranger. Farah claims that those countries have already captured their own alien technology and are studying it in secret. If that's true, we're not just talking about a government cover-up. We're talking about a global arms race to unlock the secrets of extraterrestrial engineering. The implications are staggering. Whoever cracks this technology first could gain an unimaginable strategic advantage. Farah believes that it's only a matter of time before this information becomes public. He's even suggested that President Donald Trump might be the one to finally reveal the truth. According to sources close to the film, Trump has been made aware of the documentary's contents. Now the question is whether he'll choose to act on that knowledge or continue the legacy of silence that's lasted 8 decades. The documentary premiered in a small committee room at the Capitol, screened for a select group of lawmakers. Despite their differing political views, the response was unanimous: shock. Some were skeptical, sure, but others walked out of that room visibly shaken. The film is now available for rent on Prime Video, and the reactions have been pouring in ever since. So is there anything actually new in this documentary? That's where things get complicated. Critics and scientists have pointed out that much of what's presented isn't exactly breaking news. Many of the 34 experts featured in the film have already testified before Congress about these incidents. Some have appeared in other documentaries and TV specials. The difference here is that Farah has brought them all together in one place, creating a unified narrative that feels more cohesive and convincing. The production quality is undeniable. Even skeptics agree that this is one of the most polished UFO documentaries ever made. The cinematography is crisp, the editing is sharp, and the testimonies are delivered with a weight that's hard to ignore. But polish doesn't equal proof. And that's the biggest criticism leveled against the film: it offers no hard evidence. From start to finish, the disclosure age is built entirely on eyewitness testimony. There are no leaked documents, no clear photographs, no recovered materials. Just people telling their stories. And while those people are credible in their professional backgrounds, the scientific community remains unconvinced. Dan Farah anticipated this criticism. He argues that even if he presented a photo or video of something extraordinary, half the world would dismiss it as CGI or artificial intelligence. In his view, the strength of the documentary lies precisely in its reliance on human testimony. These are real people with real careers putting everything on the line. But not everyone is buying it. Take Christopher Sherwood, a spokesperson for the Pentagon. As soon as the documentary aired, Sherwood issued a statement saying that Luis Elizondo had no responsibility whatsoever for Adam. That's a direct contradiction of what Elizondo claims. If Sherwood is telling the truth, then the entire foundation of the documentary starts to crack. And here's the thing. Proving Elizondo's involvement should be easy. All it would take is a single document, a contract, an official assignment. So far, none has been provided. Then there's the Legacy program, the supposed covert operation responsible for reverse engineering alien spacecraft. According to the documentary, this program is so secretive that it's been hidden from secretaries of defense, members of Congress, and even sitting presidents. Elizondo himself says he had a choice: stay silent and let the American people remain in the dark, or resign in protest and tell the truth. He chose the latter. But if this program is as buried as he claims, why hasn't a single verifiable document surfaced? Why hasn't anyone else corroborated its existence with concrete proof? Elizondo's answer is frustratingly simple. The program was so classified that even the president didn't know about it. If that sounds hard to believe, you're not alone. The idea that a shadow government could operate independently of the commander-in-chief for 80 years is a massive claim. And massive claims require massive evidence. The debate over extraterrestrial life has always existed, but in the early 2020s it exploded into mainstream conversation. The first public congressional hearings on UFO sightings in decades took place during this period. In 2023 alone, there were over 500 reported sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena. Most were eventually explained as weather balloons, flares, drones, or secret military aircraft. But a significant number remain unexplained. Joshua Semeter, a professor and director of the Center for Space Physics at Boston University's College of Engineering, is one of the skeptics. He's spent years analyzing UAP footage and has never seen evidence suggesting a government cover-up. According to Semeter, most UAP events are recorded using infrared cameras, which measure heat rather than visible light. In the infrared spectrum, an object can temporarily or permanently disappear if it matches the ambient temperature. In other words, what looks like a vanishing craft might just be a quirk of the camera. Naturally, the 34 people in the documentary disagree. They insist they know what they saw and no camera glitch can explain it. And so we return to the core issue, belief. To accept this documentary as truth, you have to trust the word of everyone involved, even without physical proof. Dan Farah has no doubt. He believes the strongest evidence is the credibility of the people willing to risk everything to speak out. But there's another detail worth noting. The documentary presents a completely one-sided narrative. All 34 voices agree. There's no counterargument, no dissenting opinion, no scientific rebuttal within the film itself. It's an echo chamber of belief. And while that might make for compelling storytelling, it doesn't make for balanced journalism. There's also a curious pattern in these sightings. The majority occur near US military and nuclear installations. But according to the documentary, these craft aren't just passing through. They're surveilling our most sensitive defense sites, studying our capabilities, and possibly even testing our responses. That's not random. That's deliberate. Major outlets like The Guardian, The Hollywood Reporter, and IndieWire have all expressed skepticism. Their critiques focus on the lack of evidence and the implausibility of an 80-year conspiracy involving multiple presidential administrations. Could the US government really keep a secret this big for this long? Dan Farah thinks so. And he's betting that Donald Trump will be the one to finally blow the lid off. Former CIA Director John Brennan once said it would be arrogant to assume we're the only intelligent life in a universe with billions of galaxies. But that's not the question this documentary is asking. The question isn't whether alien life exists. It's whether they've already visited us. And those are two very different things. Dan Farah grew up surrounded by alien imagery in pop culture. He later worked with Steven Spielberg, one of the architects of modern UFO mythology. That background makes him more than just a conspiracy theorist. It makes him someone who understands narrative, spectacle, and how to move an audience. His stated goal with this documentary wasn't fame or profit. It was to wake people up to what he believes is the truth. According to Farah, the public has been deceived for decades by a well-funded disinformation campaign. And now, he says, sources close to the situation have told him that Trump is aware of the documentary. If that's true, and if Trump decides to pursue this information, we could be on the verge of the most significant announcement in human history. But there's also the possibility that nothing happens. That this documentary fades into the background like so many others before it. That the silence continues. That the truth, if there even is one, stays buried for another 80 years. So where does that leave us? With questions. With testimonies. With possibilities. And with a choice. Do we believe what these